Hello everyone, my name is Nsikoh and welcome back to this new episode of the Nsikoh Music Talk. It's been a while since we've been around here, but hey, best thing always take time. you know? So today we have a tremendous singer here in the studio and her name is Miss Millie Edwards. So I can't wait to hear for her story, guys. So please buckle up. It's gonna be such a drive with you guys and we're gonna just throw a lot at you, and I hope you guys enjoy this new episode that we're bringing for you. So again, Millie Edwards in the studio. So how you doing today, Millie?
I am doing great after listening to you. I am ready.
Hey, you just sang,
I am ready.
You just sang something. You just like you made my heart pumped up. So that was amazing. That was I remember that Sunday, phenomenal Sunday. Like just stay in the backstage and hear you how you sing. There are very, very few musicians that can touch the heart, but you did it, and
Thank you.
that was amazing. And you just did it again. And I couldn't hold myself. I was just excited and I screamed all over the world.
Well, I got to tell you, I remember that Sunday, and you were pretty amazing with Joe Cartwright.
Oh my
I was
God.
impressed. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
You were doing it. So I say, I bow down to you. I remember that. I said, wow.
So let's start with where you come from. Where are you originally from?
I was born in Moundville, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
And I lived with my grandmother until my parents could get on their feet. My dad was a serviceman in the Korean War.
Wow.
And he was from Independence, Missouri. So when he married my mom, he took her to Independence, and they were going to start their life there. But they left me with my grandma in Moundville, Alabama. And my grandma had no running water, no electricity, an outhouse.
Wow.
And that's where I lived for a few years. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I realized what was important, and I was taught a lot of life lessons, and I saw how she did so much with nothing, and I had the best life I could ever wish for. And I lived with her for a while, and then when they got on their feet, I moved to Independence, Missouri, grew up in Independence, went to college in Kansas, did my graduate work at Rockhurst. And the ironic thing is I'm old enough to remember Harry S. Truman talking to me as a kid, because he retired in Independence, because that's Truman Town.
Wow.
So
Who was Harry Truman?
he was the president of the United States.
Wow.
And he's the one that integrated the armies. And he was from Independence, Missouri, and his house is now a museum. And as a kid, he would come into the grocery stores, and when I walked home from school, he'd come out and say, "How was school today?" And a lot of my students, because I'm a teacher, they'll say, "Mrs. Nottingham, are you that old?" "Uh-huh." "You remember Harry S. Truman, the past president?" "Uh-huh." Yeah, I had a good life in Independence. It was a good upbringing. I had a grandmother who played the piano, a grandmother that sang, a mother that sang, a father that loved jazz, especially female vocalists, and a father who introduced me to the Musicians Foundation as a little girl.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, but he didn't bring me here at 12 or 1 in the morning. Doggone it. My My dad did not bring me here for a drink as a little
Oh my
girl.
God.
No. But he would bring me here for different,
Yeah.
he'd say, he goes, let's go for a drive. And from Independence, Missouri, we drive here. And that's how I was introduced to the Musicians Foundation, by my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad taught me a lot about music late at night, listening to albums. But I was trained classically. I started playing piano at 4, started playing viola at 12. I was classically trained. I was in orchestras. I did recitals. I did musical competitions. So I received several scholarships to Ottawa.
Wow.
And one was for music. I was also a jock. So I got a scholarship when women didn't get a scholarship. I got a track
Wow.
scholarship. But I went to Ottawa and I was going to be a musical performer. And I got a scholarship for music. And I didn't start singing until I was 19. And I needed extra money. And that's when coffee houses were very popular. And I started doing coffee houses on campus. And I realized I enjoyed singing and that I didn't want to play in an orchestra and I did not want to be a pianist. I still wanted to play those instruments, but I wanted to sing. And that was during the time when, as I said earlier, colleges had money. Clark Terry was always there.
I'm amazed that you met him.
Several times. In fact, we had him as a guest in Kansas City when I sat on the board for Kansas City Youth Jazz, which was started by Leon Brady.
Oh, wow.
We had Clark Terry here in Kansas City. A lot of people, and you can read this on the internet, and people always go, oh my gosh, I worked with Aaron Copland, an amazing American composer, but he was on our campus. And it was commonplace to have those kind of people there. And that's what formed me as a musician.
That's so many influences you've had,
Oh, yeah.
in your youth. And tell us a little bit about your biggest influences. Like, who are the people you believe really influenced you?
My family. My dad talked to me about music. My grandmother played piano. My mother and grandma sang. And being raised in the church, because I played piano in the church. But I would have to say, beyond the music lessons, beyond hearing music all the time in my home, my dad, because he would play an album, he would play a song, and he loved Cleo Lane, and he loved Sarah Vaughan, and he loved Dinah Washington, and the list went on. Nancy Wilson. He loved female vocalists, but he would not only play the song, but he would talk to me about that song. He would talk to me about the delivery. He would talk to me about phrasing. He would talk to me about timing. And he would humble me by saying things like, when you become a singer, play and do honor to the song. You didn't write it, you don't own it, but give respect to the people that did. And don't become so complacent or comfortable in reveling in how great you think you are, because there's always somebody better. But my dad was the biggest influence, because he says music not only connects people, but it tells a story. And depending on how you sing that song and how you deliver it, that's how the story's going to be heard.
Yeah.
It's more than just the notes. It's more than the words. It's both together, and the delivery and the performance, and how you affect people, and how you honor what that composer was trying to say. So my dad was probably the biggest influence. Now, of course, working with Chester Hairston, who wrote Amen, that was pretty amazing. working with Aaron Copeland, amazing. Working with Clark Terry, amazing. Working with Charles Erlin, amazing.
Yeah.
Working with Everett Devant, amazing. I could go on.
My goodness.
Greg Mize, amazing. It's all of them are amazing. Kansas City is blessed to have so many talented musicians. You are humbled in this city by the musicians that you work with. But all of that has made me who I am. But my biggest influence would have to be my dad.
Yes.
Because he told me the truth.
Yeah. Wow. What was it like growing up for you? I mean, you talked about the struggle with your grandma, but once you came to Kansas City, what was it like at your time?
Well, one thing Dad always reminded me that I was a black woman in America. And he made it very clear, no matter how successful you become, no matter how far you go, you are a black woman in America. Now, with that said, our family was extremely diverse because my great-great-great-grandfather was white and fought in the Civil War. And he married a woman the color of my top. And they had 2 kids. And one of them was my dad's dad. So we learned early on about race, not only growing up in independence, but within the black culture. Because within the black culture, there is difficulty with light-skinned, dark-skinned people. And we had that difficulty in our family. So race was very much a part of my life. And growing up in Kansas City, you never escape it. And I knew that just from conversations with my dad. But my dad always said, you can be and do whatever you want to do. And it doesn't matter what people think of you or how they look at you, because you remain true to yourself.
Yeah.
So beyond my career in AT&T for 25 years, now I'm a teacher at MCC Penn Valley. I am very comfortable in my skin. And yes, I share those stories with my students. I marched in the 60s and the 70s and was proud to do so, and still do, and still give my kids extra credit when they participate in marches around Kansas City. Because regardless of what the political situation was then or now, people make the change. People make the difference. And by being involved and using your voice and speaking up, you can make a difference. And I sincerely believe that. And every bit of discrimination that we read about historically, and you're not going to be able to hide history. The truth is going to come out. It's always going to come out. I experience it every day. You wake up as a person of color wondering what's going to happen today. You travel around this country and in the world and you experience it. I'm no different. I'm Millie Edwards sitting here talking to you now, but I experienced discrimination, racial, sexual. My first promotion at AT&T, I was denied because I was a woman and I was of color. As a person of color, you learn to live with it and you figure out how you can achieve your goals and be successful. Yeah. So I love Kansas City. Kansas City is no different than any place else. My students will automatically say, well, I really don't want to go to the South, Mrs. Nottingham. It's really, you heard what they say about the South. The South is no different than any place else. It's everywhere. It's everywhere and you're not going to escape it. It's just how you deal with it. And if you're going to allow it to break you.
Absolutely.
And it's not, because it's a sign of ignorance. So yeah, I love Kansas City. And I experience good times and bad times. But I love Kansas City because of all the talent we have in Kansas City. It's got a great cost of living. We've got everything every place else has on a smaller scale. And if you want to see mountains, you want to see oceans, you can always get on a plane.
Yeah.
But I love it because of its appreciation of music and all the talented people. It's just a good city, as far as I'm concerned.
It has the barbecue too.
It has great barbecue. It has different kinds, but it's all good. It's got good barbecue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's got good food.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your corporate journey. You said you were working for AT&T
Oh,
for
yeah.
almost 25 years.
Yeah, I was only going to stay 2 years because I had been a lounge lizard. I was playing in hotels across the United States.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, I was a lounge lizard. I played from 9 to 1 in the morning, 6 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, put the gown on, reunited, and it feels so. Yeah, I was a lounge lizard. And then at one point I said, I don't know if I want to do this forever. So I said, I'll get a job, pay some bills off, and figure it out. Started out as an operator for Southwestern Bell. Ended up staying 25 years, climbed the corporate ladder. Southwestern Bell purchased AT&T and the brand. In 83, 84, I had to make a decision. Did I want to stay with Southwestern Bell or go with AT&T? I opted to go with AT&T. Judge Green said, this will never happen again. Well, it did. 2004, Southwestern Bell purchased AT&T and the brand. I was able, because of my age and service, to take a buyout. And I thought, what am I going to do? Do I want to do music full time, do nonprofit? Someone saw me singing at now departed Jardines on Main.
Yeah.
And they said they're looking for a reading instructor at Metropolitan Community College, Penn Valley. Why don't you do the interview? I said, oh, I don't know. I did the interview, and I've been there 14 years. I'm their reading coordinator.
Wow.
Got about 6 or 7 adjunct professors, teach developmental, intermediate, college accredited courses, and we focus on students that need to improve their comprehension and critical thinking and reading skills.
We talked a little bit earlier about that, how you're so involved with the development of the children who come directly from high school and they don't have the skills of reading or critical listening. And what's your approach about that?
Well, it's sad in that you may hear people say it, you may read about it, but our educational system is in trouble.
Can I throw this little question in the middle of what we're talking about right now? You know, we're talking about that reading and critical comprehension and listening. You know, what race have you encountered that are the most affected by those lack of skills?
If we look at the numbers, it's going to be Black and brown students. Not to say white students are not impacted, because I believe in our current environment, most students don't critically think and comprehend. But there's a large number of Black and brown students, and specifically male students,
Wow.
who have difficulty reading, comprehending, and critical thinking.
Wow.
So it all depends on, were they read to as children? Were there books in the home? But it's bigger, it's much bigger than that. I don't want to simplify it or bring it down to that level. But all of it is a part of a cycle. If your mom and dad have to work 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table, if they've got to find affordable, safe housing, sometimes it's difficult to read to you at night. Sometimes that job may fall to a sister or a brother. It's much more complicated than were there books in the home? Did someone read to them? It's what was going on in their lives that impacted them not being able to get a great education.
Yeah.
Whatever our government or the politicians may say, there has always been a disparity. There has been unequal education across the board, unequal pay. The playing field is not level. And because of that, Black and brown people and boys are negatively impacted.
Yeah.
And the students that I get, they're brilliant. They are brilliant. I tell people, don't feel sorry for me and don't feel sorry for them. They are intelligent people, because you have to be intelligent to get as far as they have gotten. And they're sitting in those seats.
Absolutely.
What they need are the skills.
Yes, just the skills.
To help them achieve their goal. And that's what we're there to do. It's not that those students are intelligent. They teach me every day, all the time. They keep me going. They keep me young. They challenge me. But they have not been given opportunities because of the color of their skin and how they look. And that is unfair.
Yeah. So you talked about like it's happening all over the United States, the same thing with Kansas City right now. Yeah. What would you say, if you had the opportunity, what type of solutions will you be able to bring to the table?
If I had the power, if I had my way, as Linda Eder has sung, if I had my way, I would first ask the question to those individuals that have billions of dollars and want to keep billions of dollars, how much is enough? How much money do you need to live comfortably? I have to ask wealthy people, how much do you need? Is it the money or the power? Because that money could be spent in neighborhoods. I know a lot of people in education, in fair payment for fair work. That money could change someone's lives, and people would say, well, this is what I had to do, and if I can do it, they can do it. Not necessarily, because everybody's situation is different. The playing field is not level. It never has been. So I would have to say, how much money is enough? Football players, do you really need $500 million? Jeff Bezos, do you really need the billions that we're giving you by purchasing products off Amazon? How much do you need? And why not look at the educational systems? Why not look at neighborhoods? Why not look at the homeless problem? Yes, it's about mental illness, but some of those homeless people would live in a shelter. They would take care of a place, a space. Why not look at the abandoned buildings across the nation and do something? Mm-hmm. Homelessness is at an all-time high. How much money is enough before you want to make a difference in your neighborhood and in people's lives? How much money do you need? And healthcare is a right for everyone.
Yeah.
Why not put some of that money aside to help everyone get healthcare and not trying to down somebody because they don't? How much money do you need to die comfortably? Because you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
I would ask people. I was taught to pay it forward. And I believe as a nation we have lost sight of paying it forward. because we are responsible for each other. And it bothers me that people believe that they're not. Because crime is going to affect everybody, not just one neighborhood, everybody. The lack of education, we can't compete with the world. In Europe, they go to school year-round. Our math and science scores are sad. So can we compete with them? No. Everybody is affected. Quality is lowered, and everybody's affected. How do you know you're getting the best doctor? If you graduate out of the class of 100, you still are a doctor.
Doctor, yeah.
How do you know the pilot that's flying the plane is the best pilot? Everything is affected. And while politicians are fighting about power and redesigning districts and trying to take away people's voting rights because you lost an election, how much is enough? And how are you going to care for the people that need the help the most and make this country what we thought it was? If you're a color, you knew it never was. But are we going to fix it and make it better?
Yeah. It's always amazing because I love one of the biggest reasons this podcast is happening is because I'm not from the US, and I don't understand the pain of, differences. I don't understand the pain of a lot of the culture up here. It's always amazing to hear perspectives, from you, from anybody else that I've been interviewing, and there are many more coming up, and I want to understand more and more, and not just for me, but also for the people, so
Right.
they can understand what's going on. We always see things very beautiful and amazing, but we don't know what's going on in the background.
I always tell the students, I never thought I would grow up in the country I'm living in today. I never thought that. We're burning books. We're telling people, teachers, how to teach. The history of our country needs to be taught, not whitewashed. The truth needs to be told. I never thought I'd grow up in a country like this, where burning books is okay, and that you don't want to teach the real history of this country, because whether we believe it or not, we're living on stolen ground. The only people that were here first were Native Americans and Mexicans. Everybody else is an immigrant. Yeah. So if you're going to send somebody back, they would be the only ones that really were here first. And not one promise made was kept, and the ground was stolen.
Yeah.
And I still believe we're better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. The educational industry is one of the least talked about. It's one of the least invested in.
Right.
And I was talking with a trumpet player the other day. He's a teacher, and he told me how much it's been neglected. And what would you propose? Because I've worked with so many musicians, and they told me how they came up with, and they told me how much, even in some schools, they don't have enough instruments for the students. What would you propose for that? If you had the opportunity to bring a solution about that.
Well, as I shared, I sit on Leon Brady's board, Kansas City Youth Jazz. I currently sit on UMKC's board for Friends of Jazz. And I would ask parents to please get involved, to please go to those PTA meetings. Please be a parent. Please care about your student. please participate in fundraising. Find out what that child needs in that school and focus on raising money for that.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a grassroots effort. I hate to say it, but the people we elect are more concerned about power and their positions. It's going to have to be neighborhoods. It's going to have to be people that look like you and me. It's going to have to be everyday working people that sit down, look at what is needed in their schools, in their neighborhoods, and then get to work.
Yeah.
That's what's going to have to happen, because that's where the responsibility is falling. Schools don't have computers. Schools don't have equipment. Schools now are trying to make sure they have disinfectants and wipes and masks, and then they're being told you can't do this, you can't do that. And I honor everyone who is a teacher, who is trying to do the best they can, because they need help. And parents found that out. During the pandemic, when the kids had to stay home and they were responsible for them, many parents told me, I didn't realize what teachers did. I had no idea. Teaching is hard work. Healthcare, hard work. Every job is hard.
Yeah.
The healthcare workers, the maintenance crews, the postal workers, they kept this country going. And I want them to be remembered. But of course, people are fighting for power and positions. But again, mail deliverers, mailmen, mailwomen, healthcare workers, teachers, grocery stores, all of those people kept this country going. To what avail? It's everyday people that get the job done.
Yeah.
And if there's not anything in the schools, it's going to fall on the parents. Because as I told my students, you can look at movie stars, you can look at, athletes, but your mentors, your heroes should be everyday people in your life that are doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Wow.
That's what I believe.
That's amazing. Millie, it's such a pleasure talking to you. I think we're gonna have you coming back here. There's so many questions we didn't even just brush off, and try to get to know you better. And it's amazing, your responses, your thought process, everything is amazing. I can just listen to you talking all day long. But in the meanwhile, please let us know how we can contact you. You're an amazing singer. We talked about education so much that we forgot that you're a singer at the end of the day. Phenomenal singer. I don't even know how to advertise it anymore. But yeah, tell us social media.
You know what? You can reach me by sending me an email, Mildred, Mildred, .Nottingham, N as in Nancy, Ottingham, at mcckc.edu. And send me an email.
Yeah.
I'll send you my schedule. You can ask to be my friend on Facebook. A lot of people don't use Facebook. I do. That's how I advertise all of my gigs. I have Instagram. Send me an email and I'll respond. Trust me, I'm at school every day.
Awesome.
All day.
All day. Millie it was, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.